Hello everybody and a very cheery greetings to all of you. Today in this video tutorials we are going to discuss on the subject of reading and reflecting on text. Now let's begin with this module 1, which will cover the meaning, concept and nature of the language. We will take first the topic of language because it is being considered as the foundation of the broader topic of the reading and further its reflections on your text. So let's begin with the language. Now what the language is? It is basically connects the world to the man. Language reflects the man and it is being considered as an extraordinary gift of God. It is a part that makes a human being a man, a fully complete man. In fact, Aristotle says that man is a rational animal and that what sets him apart and what raises him above the animal is that he has the ability to reason, and it is very clear that he cannot reason without the language. So language is a means of forming and storing the ideas as reflections of reality and exchanging them in the process of human intercourse. So language is very much social by nature and thus inseparably connected with the people who are its creators. Language is basically created by the people and it is for the people and its creators and users. It grows and it further develops together with the development of society. So language is a means of developing and understanding the great minds of the past by studying the contemporary written documents of the time. Now, according to the Stalin, who observes about the language is that it arises and it develops with the rise and development of a society. It dies when the society dies, and apart from society there is no language. So it is being rightly said by the Stalin that any kind of civilization, any kind of culture, when develops, the society develops accordingly. And we have seen many examples of the ancient culture, ancient society, ancient era, that the many civilizations dies and along with its language dies. So language and society are inseparable. According to Henry Sweet, who is an English fanatician and has been considered as a scholar in language, he stated that language is the expression of ideas by means of speech, sounds combined into words. And these words are combined into sentences. Like we can say, basically, alphabets make the words and words will make the sentences. And this combination of alphabets, words, sentences, answering to that of our ideas and thoughts. So it is a means of connectivity, of answering our ideas, of answering our thoughts. Similarly, there are some static definitions of languages offline and online on the Webster's dictionary, on the Wikipedia, and so many places we can see the various languages, various definitions of languages. And language is a system accordingly of communication which consists of a set of sounds and written symbols which are used by the people of a particular country or region or for talking or writing. So language, it has been clear that it is a means to communicate, it's a means to talk to people, it's means of writing, it's means to convey the messages. So this is being quoted in Collins Online Dictionary accordingly 2018. Similarly, Wikipedia has also said that language consists of the development. When the language develops, it acquires, it maintains, and it uses a complex system of communication, particularly the human ability to do so. So language is any specific example of any system. Now, after clearing the basic concept and the meaning of the language, now let's see what are the basic characteristics, what are its features, what are its identities of a language that is being quoted to consider that particular system that it is a language. Now first of all we'll see that language is social. And it is very true that language allows people to communicate with each other by following an established set of rules. Any society, any area where the social development taking place, it has particular language of that society. So language is, basic character is the language is social. Similarly, the next characteristics of a language is that language is vocal. Now language is made up of various sounds produced by humans. When these sounds are put together, they form words with a meaning. Now language is no doubt, it's one of the characteristics local, although it has been identified that language can be non-vocal also, but the characteristics of being vocal is one of its features. So language can be put together when we are producing the sounds. It's not a particular set of rules. Apart from the rules also, with a particular gesture of sounds also, we can convey our language. Now language is cultural. It is entirely dependent on who uses it or for what reasons are we using that language, within what context and for what purposes. So culture is the setting that enables the medium of language. It is also what defines it and gives it very uniqueness to that idea. So when you address people depending upon their culture, when the culture is different from your culture, you use less context and more symbols. When we are talking to different persons, when our culture is different from other person, we sometimes use lesser of languages and more of gestures to convey or to understand. When the culture is similar to our culture, we can use more context because we are likely to be understood verbally and non-verbally. So language can be conveyed through verbal and non-verbal means. So language is, much of its basic feature is that it is cultural. Now the next is language is arbitrary. Arbitrary means that there is no connection between why a particular word represents the idea or thing that it represents. It's very much arbitrary. For example, why do we drive on a parkway and park our car on a driveway? There is no reason why a female human adult is called like Istri in Hindi, women in English, Aurat in Urdu, TV in Punjabi. So there's no reason why we do this thing, why we say this thing to this word, why we say this thing to a particular word, what its particular meaning. So language is very arbitrary. Now the next feature is language is symbolic. Language is a construct of sounds and symbol, and each symbol has a meaning of its own, depending and changes on how the cultural group uses that language. Moreover, the symbols are also dependent on the context within which we are using that symbol. The most important symbol of language is the word made from the group of alphabets and further make the sentences. So most important symbol of a language is its word, and further it makes the group of symbols that makes it very much symbolic. Now the next is that language is flexible. Now it can be divided and subdivided, it can be recreated, it can be extended. Language can be recreated, language can be expanded, language can be divided and extended. The main example of these instances is idioms, paradoxes, dialects, jargons and street talks. In a basic day-to-day funky languages, we can see that it is very much flexible. We can put one language, one dialect and inserting into making the other language and other dialect, and it's becoming a mixture of various languages, various regions and various dialects and making one language. So it is very much flexible. Now language varies from place to place, from people to people, from region to region, from country to country. So words change their sense and meanings as soon as they cross their own boundaries. This change occurs in spoken as well as written formats. So as soon as you crosses one boundary, the language changes. Although we are living in an area of Punjab, in a state of Punjab, but still the language prevalent here is Punjabi, is being changed by various regions. And the various regions in the Punjab are Majha, Malwa, Doaba. And in these three regions are very much distinct in their language, that is called Punjabi. So Punjabi in itself takes the various forms according to their boundaries, according to their change. The way of spoken and the various meanings of the words in Punjabi in the area of Amritsar and surrounding areas are very much different in the area of Bathinda or Ludhiana. So dialects keep changing, so it varies from place to place. Language has rules of usage. There is a monitor language that we use in specific situation and we watch over, and natural language, the language that we use very much casually. So rules can be constitutive, what do words mean, or regulative, how do we apply. So language is a sentence, is a conversation, so it is being it's being surrounded by and it's being applicable that some set of rules is applied on a language that is formal language and not basically on non-formal language. But still there are the rules of usage in the formal languages, and it is a basic characteristics of any language. Now the language is dynamic and it's not static. Words will continue to be added to our daily vocabulary, whether they are culturally coined or created for trademark purposes. Similarly, we have seen that it is being dynamic, it has been various words are being added, and the basic impact of its dynamicity is that the impact of social medias, impact of mobiles, impact of e-learning, impact of electronic medias, that our language is keep on growing and it's not static, it's not stagnant, it is a dynamic, and various words, various dialects are being added in one particular language. So with this we can say that language is dynamic and not static. These are few of the basic characteristics of language, and I hope you got all the points clear of the basic nature, meaning and its characteristics. In the next module, we'll see over the principles of various languages, and then we switch off to the basic concept of reading. Thank you, and have a nice day.